Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Do it live.
Wired Axcess.
We'll do it live.
Wired Axcess.
Welcome to Wired Axcess Podcast, where I'm your host, DJ K-Dub Omaha. Man, we have the Supernovas finishing up the season. The last game is tomorrow. Make sure to go check them out at the CHI Center before they get to the semis and hopefully the championship, as they take on the Columbus Fury tomorrow at the CHI Center, 7 o'clock p.m. Still tickets available at supernovas.com. Make sure to support this pro volleyball league as they are looking to bring the championship back to Omaha with our Omaha Supernovas. Today, I am welcoming the guest again. I have Jeff Koonsman on with myself, as he was on the last episode with his son. But this time, I kind of brought it back to his realm of basketball, and we are welcoming Lincoln Southeast athlete, but also, is it what's the, where are you going to? Sunrise Christian Academy.
I'm actually be attending UMSL University up in St. Louis.
Okay. That's an announcement right here, right now. All right. Taye Moore.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the show. Man, I'll let you say that one more time. Where are you going to attend now? Not Sunrise Academy.
UMSL University up in St. Louis.
Okay. Well, I got to watch you at the AAU circuit. That was my first experience because, unfortunately, in the area, I don't feel Lincoln is getting enough love or enough show here.
Yeah, sure.
Here, just 45 minutes away, to where I know who Taye Moore is. But I could tell you, after last summer with the AAU, when you were with Nebraska Hoops Elite, and then this year, you were well noted in all of the news reports when it came out of Lincoln. But for me, just your persona, your humbleness, your direct leadership as a point guard, which is your position and why you need it, is so important. But you got that way for a reason. What all do you remember when you're growing up playing sports, and what sports did you all play in to begin with?
Growing up, I played some baseball because that was kind of big in my family. My two brothers, that was like their main sport. And growing up, my grandpa always loved baseball, so I got into it a little bit. I was actually pretty good. I think I was better than my two brothers, but they'll probably beg to differ. I played a little bit of soccer. It was kind of boring. I was only for the YMCA, so it wasn't too competitive. And then
that explains a lot.
Yeah, I played some flag football, but kind of for the YMCA once again. My mom didn't want me to get injured, concussions and stuff like that, playing tackle. And then basketball is kind of fast-paced, that up and down, more drama going on stuff, keep me more interested, and that's what I was into.
And when it comes to your basketball, when did you start, and what kind of league did you kind of start in when you remember beginning? Was it through the YMCA as well to begin?
Yeah, but also my brothers, I used to watch them growing up, going to like their high school games, just bringing the ball, dribbling and stuff like that. And then, yeah, I started in the YMCA league. I wasn't too good. It wasn't until like around 7th, 8th grade where I really kind of started taking it seriously and playing every day, getting more confident. That was one of my big problems, like confidence, because I always knew I could do it, but until I kind of came out of my shell, it wasn't until like that 8th grade year, around there.
All right. And then, of course, you have a connection with Jeff. And what I like is Jeff kind of summed it up and connecting a little bit of the Omaha and the Lincoln flavor. Jeff, what do you know of when you first met Taye, and when was that?
I think it was about maybe his 7th grade year. When he was playing under his brother, they were on Jelly Elite. And kind of what Taye was saying, like he was a kid where I was like, this kid's really skilled. Like he can do a lot, but he was quiet. And he played with a lot of kids that I played with. And just that group of kids that he was around, I think, like you said, when you drew to merge that Omaha Lincoln scene, like those guys, him, KG, Quan, a lot of those guys kind of brought that atmosphere to it. But like I said, with Taye, like I met him in 7th grade. We threw him and his brother Justice, and they had a team called NBS, right?
Yeah.
On Nebraska Chaos, and good group of guys. And like every time we'll play them, go heads up with them, like it'd be a good competitive match. And it'd be Omaha versus Lincoln. But what we kind of find out is like a lot of these guys are some dogs, man. Like, And so just a lot of the relationship came from that, and I'm just super appreciative of Tay and his brother and what they brought and kind of connecting that. So I do want to say one thing, man, flowers for y'all, man, for connecting that Lincoln Omaha connection, man, and bringing that to the table for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because we were kind of talking a little pregame, me and Jeff, and we were just thinking, I mean, the last time for basketball that Lincoln's been kind of in the big show light has been a while. Football, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time they were in the playoffs,
Yeah, I don't even know either.
And it's crazy because everything resorts back to Lincoln. The playoffs are held in Lincoln. The basketball tournament or championship weekend is in Lincoln. Everything's there. You would think and hope that it goes there. But this year, I could tell you, whatever work you have done up until then has shined in your senior year. When do you think for yourself that you started noticing a change of, I've got to commit to basketball and this is what I want to do?
I think when I was going into high school, I knew there's a old group of guys in front of me. They're all seniors when I was a freshman, and I knew next year it was going to be a clean slate. All the youngins are going to have to come up, and me being the point guard is kind of the main position. So kind of had to buckle down and just grind, and that's what I told coach. I want to be next up, and he said you have the keys to the Ferrari. It was basically meant you got the keys to the team. So I knew it was my time, and I knew how to buckle down and kind of show out what I do. And that just was my mindset going through high school. And then each year I try to get better and better and better.
And when you look at high schools in Lincoln, I don't know the terrain much. Is it based off of where you live, or did you get to choose to where you wanted to go?
We could choose. So I started off at a school called North Star, but it was kind of weird. They're trying to put me on freshman, and I was like, nah, I'm not. I know I'm not that bad. I was like, I shouldn't be playing no freshman ball. So I actually transferred over to Southeast. So yeah, it's just where you can transfer, I think, once or twice, but yeah, you can pretty much go where you want. You can
And
change
now,
that
did you
address
have
and
any
stuff like
connection
that.
in Lincoln Southeast?
Yeah, actually, my brother knew because it was a new coaching staff my first year, and the assistant coach has been my brother's friend for a long time, and he was like, "I'm going to be moving over to Southeast with our coach right now, Coach Warning." He was like, "We would love to have Tay, and so we got an old group of guys, and he's going to be coming in young and probably have a bright future ahead of him, get a lot of playing time and stuff like that." So we made the switch, and it was a good switch.
Now, Jeff, of course, you kind of help kids navigate through these decisions, but obviously it's a lot on parents and the kids. And you hear Tay's story of freshman year. I didn't feel it was for me. They wanted me to play freshman. There's two ways to look at that, Stone. One, opportunity, right? You get an opportunity, you get to play. But two, if you know where you are, how do you judge when to make those moves with a kid, and how can you guide someone to make the best decision? Obviously, it has worked out in Tay's position. And I say this because we had Raheem Brisdeen, I don't know if you know him, on the show, who really in high school explained it was his fault of moving from high school to high school because the programs didn't work. And even his senior year, watching kids that he plays with all the time, and he still didn't get to play no high school basketball because of these decisions. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, Tay gets an opportunity to take the keys to the Ferrari.
Like I said last week, be honest. Know what you're good at, and if you're going to bet on yourself, make sure you know that you got a royal flush. You know what I mean? No, and it's seriously, because if not, what does happen is a kid would transfer 1 year, and they believe that they're at this level, and they're really good, but what are they going up against? So then they might shift to a different school and saying this. And now we've wasted 2 years instead of sticking with a program and building, and waiting on my time. I bet on myself when I probably shouldn't have, and I probably should have been in the lab a little bit more. But I think it all comes from just good guidance. Who are you working with? Who you training with? Who's giving you the basketball knowledge and speaking to you? Like Tay has so many people around him that are just going to provide him with great advice. And even every time I see him, first thing I do, "Hey man, how you doing? What's it looking like for you?" We're going to have that conversation. And I just think surrounding yourself around good basketball minds, or even like coaches and people who have the experience of going through that, lean on them and be a sponge. And because, you know, especially when you're young, you believe and you have talent, like you can believe that you know a lot more than what you do. And if you don't have the proper guidance to tell you that you are wrong, you are always going to believe you're right. And then the only way you're going to learn is by your mistake.
By the mistake.
You know,
Speaking of that, going through that process your freshman year, who was your biggest guidance on that? And what, I mean, because of course you got your teammates talking, your freshman teammates, you got everybody at North Star talking. How does that all go with, and who do you find your guidance in at that time?
Yeah, like Jeff was saying earlier, kind of got to look up to the people older than you because they know more than you. And my two brothers been through high school, so they know, and they know what goes on, like coaching and stuff like that. So I'll say my brothers and family a little bit, some coaches, but it was ultimately up to me. But I was obviously listening to my brothers and what they thought would be best for me. And then I kind of looked at the bigger picture after I heard what they said. Then I just thought it was the best decision for me.
Well, and I think for someone like yourself, I mean, you have to play with that chip on your shoulder, right? You don't have the height,
Definitely.
but you got everything else. And that's what everybody looks at. Oh, he ain't tall enough. But they don't judge his speed. They don't judge his play. They don't judge his judgments on the court. How do you get over that? And what have you used that more as fuel of?
You know, you see a handful of college players short, so knowing they can do it, I know anyone can do it. And just if you keep working, you got to be seen eventually, and just keep working on your craft, get better and better and better, and just outplay anyone in front of you. And the work can't hide. So yeah.
So when you went to high school, did you go to just basketball and only basketball, or did you kind of stick with other sports as well?
Nah, since about like seventh, I think I just stuck with basketball. So it's been basketball for the past couple of years.
What has the AAU circuit done for you that maybe a coach at a school could not do?
Like, as
Is there
far as
anything? I mean, obviously, the way that I look at it, when it comes to AAU compared to high school basketball, you have more time to really learn. Because from what the high schools I've seen, you can't make a kid the perfect kid just through high school practice. You have to have that extra longer practices that you get through AAU. How did AAU help you become the guy that you are today?
I think AAU is like a little more freedom than high school. Just play more of your game. It's not as like structure, like run this play, that play, different sets. Kind of just like go out there, like structure, but like you get to work what you've been working on for the summer, and you're in the summer, so you got more time to work on your craft, go out there in the game and do what you work on. But when you get to high school, it's kind of more like coaches got this set they want to run, more get your teammates involved, stuff like that. It's not saying it's bad to get your teammates involved, but you know, just a little more structure, I would say.
And when you think of your AAU route and you're working, what's maybe something that people don't know about Taye and your work? What is something in your work ethic that you might do that people don't even know you do?
I do it all.
Is there any regular routine that you do?
I do conditioning. I know not too many high school players like doing conditioning. I like to stay in shape so I can play most of the game. Just different shooting drills, running on the track, stuff like that. I don't know if that's too common, but yeah.
You know, I don't know, Jeff, what do you normally see? Because to me, I see 90% of the time, basketball players just like to stay in the gym. They don't understand that the elements outside of the gym can help create a better person inside the gym, because if you, like you said, on the track, you're dealing with heat, you're dealing with the temperature, you're dealing with the atmosphere, compared to when you're in the gym, most of the time it's a comfortable 68 degrees. It's, you know, everything's chill. How does that help the basketball game and just a person and mental?
I think you just do multiple things, especially like when you're an athlete. Like you said, you get on the track and like you're a basketball player in a basketball gym, you might be the best player, you get on the track or not. So just being a competitor is going to want to make you just become better at Now I could run 1 mile in 6 minutes. Now can I do 2 and 12? And it's just gonna keep pushing you.
Yeah.
So I just think having those avenues in the game and just outside the basketball, because like you can't just check a basketball box. You have to check multiple boxes. Like, what's his durability like? Like, what is it like? Taye said, like when I ask him, like, what's your conditioning like, and he can give me an answer of what his conditioning looks like. You know, what are you studying outside? Like, what's his IQ like? You know, and when you watch certain players like Taye, like you can see that. Like you could tell he studies the game. You could tell like when he's ready, like how many game winners does this man have? Like he's always prepared for that moment because he stays working on things inside the gym and he stays working on things outside the gym. You know, so just things like that, I think is just going to make players better. And I think all players need to understand if like you're a basketball player, check all the boxes, people. Check all the boxes.
Don't just leave one
Check the
undone.
boxes.
When you look, Taye, at these past couple years in high school, what's been your biggest change, and when do you think it really turned up for you? Of course, like I said, I just learned about you last summer. Not unfortunately, because it was amazing to watch you play and be a leader on the floor. But when did it really start changing for you, you think, in high school, and you really started to pretty much take those keys and drive with it?
I think a little bit after my sophomore year. I had a decent year for being a sophomore. I think I averaged like 14 points. Made an all-city team, honorable mention, all-state. Yeah. And then I kind of got more confidence. And then going into my 17U AU summer, I think I got a lot more exposure and then kind of started opening eyes. And then more people started following me. And then junior year, made state. I think that was a big thing. Got a little more eyes, and then they knew I was returning, so I was one of the main guys returning on my team. And then senior year, had a good year, averaged 17 points, won hack, May State again, and then all city team, all state honorable mention. So yeah, I think after my sophomore year.
And was there anything that you can remember that was that clicking point with you that maybe I got to change it to get to that status? Maybe that aha moment?
A little bit, just being young and then knowing I'm going to be a junior next year and time's ticking. So I can't stay quiet for too long, and I got to keep working if I want to go somewhere with this.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because as parents, because we've lived through it, but we always say those 4 years are going to go in a flash. I mean, here you are graduating here in less than a month.
Yeah.
And you can't go back. You can't rechange anything. But when you realize that the time is short, how does your relationships with your friends and your social relationship have to change if you want to commit to what you want to do?
You know, you got to surround yourself with people that want to do the same thing as you do. And I think I have that. Pretty much all my friends play basketball, want to go to the next level and make it there. So yeah, I'll just say surround yourself with people that want to be like you and have goals, and don't be around people that are gonna get you into the wrong stuff, doing bad things, and get you in trouble to interfere with your goals and what you want to do, which in your life.
And when you say about the bad people, was there anything that, in this past couple years that you might have missed that you're like, I'm glad I did? That party, that hangout, that Friday night that I just took it over and I went and did the gym time instead of going with them.
I kind of stay low key. I don't got too many friends that I don't like to go out and talking to people I don't know. So nothing like that, but definitely just going to the gym over like a party or something, I'll say probably benefited me now.
Family support. What has that
Yeah.
been like these past couple years, and what is the talks that you kind of have that either help or maybe push you to be harder?
It's been a lot. I don't know, you guys probably obviously know my brothers. They like to talk a lot, post a lot of stuff. I think a couple years ago they used to post a lot of stuff, put a little bit of pressure on me, but I knew I'm always playing with pressure on me, so I just kind of put that in the past and just play my game. So say them, they helped a lot, just building me. They used to build my confidence, bring me on my shell a little bit, posting me everywhere, recording me. Got to come out of my shell, and then my mom just being supportive in my decisions and trying to help me make decisions. Yeah.
Jeff, this is your connection as his brothers, and you obviously have your sons, and we talked about it last week of how important your oldest was to show the way. What do you know of his brothers and for him and how their guidance, because everybody thinks it always comes from mom and dad, and it's not a bad thing when it doesn't come directly from them.
Yeah.
Because the kids are just a reflection of them. You just don't think it that way. You're like, oh, it's just the brothers talking. No, they're talking from parents. They just don't want to admit it.
Like we talked about last week, I coach my son, but his brother had the biggest influence on him because, when we were taking him to his games first, that's who he's seen do it first. You know what I mean? And probably the same thing with Taye. And what I will say, about just the connection I have with their brothers and stuff like that is Taye is right. He's very quiet, and Taye, I believe this when I say this, man. When you get out of that and you become super confident in your game, your best basketball is coming still, brother. You don't know it, but that blessing is coming. But with your brothers and them, they knew he was shy and quiet. So instead of him saying anything, they would say it for him, go back and forth with people and they riding or dying with their brother because they just love him that much. And whenever you speak to him, me and his brother have had arguments about just players in general, and he's not riding with anybody but his brother. He'll argue with me too. He's blue in the face, even though I got stats, he got stats, and I love Taye, and but he's like, man, I don't care. But it's just that love. It's that love that's no, because he's not going to say it. Taye's going to be super humble. It's I'm going to go to bat for him because nobody's talking about it, and they need to be talking about this guy. And even I remember this vividly, Taye, when he hit that, was it the West Side game? The game winner was West Side.
It was this year.
Was it this year? He had a game winner, and just when his brother went to the internet with it, seriously, I had people just
it was maybe the Brian game.
Okay, one game he had the game winner, right? And maybe it was a AAU game, but he has this game winner, and his brother just immediately hits the internet. We all seen the game because it's a big game. We're there, and my people hear me. I was like, man, what's up with your boy, man? He is all over there. I told him, I said, man, when you love your little brother. And you raised him up and you watched him shine, and then he's taking over and that you've helped him get to where he needs to go. That moment for a big brother is just so amazing. And like I said, just to speak,
because you always feel like you can't make him happy, right? You feel like you're always trying to impress him, but you're not. And of course, when I think of Taye's story, and this is what I love about our show is sharing stories like a Taye, like a Will Kyle.
Yeah.
Will Kyle is as quiet as could be.
Yeah.
His dad goes, I don't know if you're going to get him to say much. And he came in, did a bomb interview. He's had people from the NBA reach out and try to talk to him about this interview, but he's quiet like yourself. And now look at him at UCLA. So just know your work will get noticed just like the others. What does that mean to you seeing local athletes get those opportunities where they don't always have to choose their first choice first? They choose where they can play first, and then the rest will follow.
Can you repeat that?
So you have, of course, a lot going on where the athletes might have chosen their first school, might not have, but they've gotten a lot of action. You got Frankie Fiddler with UNO. You got Will Kyle from South Dakota State. And now they're going to bigger schools, and they're moving on from the UNO, the South Dakota State. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but they did their time there. They did their work. And now they're in the limelight.
Yeah, so just from Nebraska or Nebraska people getting exposure.
Yeah. And how does that help you kind of see the light instead of going, I've got to go to the top D1 school that will give me an offer?
Yeah, it's just a kind of a confidence booster. You see them going low, major D1, doing great. So they're obviously proving that they can compete with Division I players and kind of putting Nebraska on the map a little bit. And bringing more attention down here. And, my guy BD kind of brought more attention down here, playing up at Colorado right now.
Oh, yes, so sir.
Just seeing them do it from Nebraska, that gives me all the confidence to show me that I can do it too.
See, and I think of stories like a Guka Rope, who had an offer as a freshman for Nebraska. Gets injured. They say, oh, we don't think he's going to come back. Goes to San Diego State and goes 4 years to the NCAA tournament that he would have never even sniffed at Nebraska. You know what I mean? Seeing you guys get these opportunities that everybody's like, we better try to stay local. we better try to get in these schools. But if they're not for you, they're not for you. Big decisions. Talk about just your recruiting process for you. Like you said, it really started turning up your 17U, your AAU. What all do you remember of your recruiting process, even just from schools that have reached out, stuff like that?
Yeah, it was kind of slow, but as soon as a couple schools started reaching out, a couple more schools started reaching out, but they just been like kind of flirting and flirting. Nobody really wanted to take a chance on me. They said they liked my game and stuff like that, but we didn't really progress too much. And then a couple schools offered me, so I was kind of messing with them, and then fall out a little bit, and then UMSL offered me, and I like the coaches and the vibe there, and the coaches got a lot of connections, and I just think that's a good place for me.
He talks about a very important part that I think some kids have to understand, that just because a school reaches out doesn't mean that's for you and that's who you want. And obviously he said they were flirting with him. When you hear a high school kid have to talk that way about universities, does that change it from going to school to a job? Or,
Shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it to me, the sound of it is. It's no longer it's playing with emotions more than it is, this kid's coming to play for my team. This kid's coming for academics, but I'm going to go ahead and just show him that I might love him. I might. And I think there's a lot of that, but I don't know if they can afford to do that nowadays because people can go elsewhere. There's so much opportunities.
They still, I think they're student athletes. First part of that is student. So you got to mix both of them so it can't become a job right away. But it can eventually come one. And like you said, when those people are flirting with you from schools you maybe not want to attend, it's like, go to the gym then and get better so that other schools will give you those looks and things like that. So that's how I feel about that one.
AAU the past 2 years, what has that done for Taye Moore and created the guy that people see when it comes to the news at 10 p.m.?
You said AAU?
Yeah, what did that do for you these past 2 years? I saw you with Coach Hepburn in NHE, and I of course saw just how the leadership and to me AAU is a little hard because not every kid is able to commit the same commitment as you make. But I feel sometimes your commitment is what matters, and it will show on the floor.
Yeah, I think it's a great source of platform where you can really promote your name and get a lot of clout. And I think AU summertime, it's a lot of opportunities to just get better and work on your game. Do things like send film out, email coaches, and yeah, just showing what you can do, working on your craft.
Now, was that something you and your
stuff like
brothers
that.
kind of worked out of getting your video out to people? What was that process like for you? Obviously, nowadays for you, compared to when Jeff and I went to school, it's super easy. We used to have to find videotapes, CDs. You just click a huddle and you're just boom, boom. Or you have someone recording at these AAU games that make the reel for you.
So my huddle, yeah, and I got a couple mixtapes, but Chuck Love, I don't know if you guys know him. He got a lot of connections with the college coaches, so him really just calling coaches for me, telling them that I'm a great player, showing them my huddle, and then just seeing what they think of me. So he has really been a big help for me, and getting coaches to notice me.
Importance of a coach at a high school to help with those connections isn't always available because they gotta spread their time. How can you overcome that, or is it something? Do you think that you got to promote with the coach and hopefully that they jump on and want to promote you?
How about as far as like them having connections to put you in line with somebody? Here's what I say. So I'm a coach at South High School. I coach at South High, and I think we won 4 games this year, maybe 5. We have 3 kids that are going to play basketball at a collegiate level. So it does matter because our coach that we have at our school, he's a former D1 assistant. So, and he's had D2 experience. So I don't know if you guys know Ben Gillen, but great guy. And he has connections with so many coaches that even though we had that record, we had the film, he knows what to tell our kids to do. He knows how to get them right in the classroom. And And they have the other things. Remember I said earlier about checking that box of just basketball. Like we have to check every single box. Do you have connections? Do you know anything outside basketball? What do you know? Do you know what to do at a college level? Do you know how they practice? Like who's feeding you this information? So I think having coaches who have those connections, one of the most important things ever. And because you could be at a school that's winning 15, 16 games and your coach knows nobody. And we see those same schools have
Same
not one
ones.
kid get an offer, and you're like, how is this even possible? They won 15, 16 games.
And you have parents question how some kids in your school got the promotion and got the opportunity.
And not saying those kids didn't earn it. Not saying that. But I'm just saying, like, having a coach that's going to go to bat for you that knows somebody and has some connections and knows the direction to take, instead of us just go to the board and let's figure it out. Like, by the time we figure it out, Taye's time might be up. That the player we're looking at, his time might be up by the time we figure it out. So I think it's important that you have those connections. So shout out Chuck Love for hooking them up. Like, it's just having those connections is important. And I know Chuck does a lot of good work in Lincoln.
And Taye, remember, you just learned what you said and explained is something that most adults don't learn until they need to really try to get a real job, because most jobs aren't earned by just, hi, I'm Kendall, I've never met anybody here. Sometimes it's who you know, what you know. And when you already got that idea of, okay, I got to find my connections and how I can touch those connections and make sure they're close. What's the family support on that, and how involved are they in the whole process?
Like as far as recruiting, and
yeah,
they're very supportive. They obviously always leave it up to me, but they feed me information with what they think would be best for me. We go over the pros and cons. So after we talk, I just look at the pros and cons of each situation where I could be. I just make my decision after that. So yeah, they help me with pros and cons, and yeah,
pros and cons. What was some of the check boxes that I would have had to have if I wanted Taye more on the team? I just want to kind of get the high school aspect of some check boxes that I want to go to this college, and here's some of the pros.
Coach that's going to push me. Coach that might have connections with other people. You never know, whatever the situation may be. Let me play my game. Have a confidence in me to go out there and provide the best way I can for their team. So yeah, just a coach that's going to push me and make.
Does location matter?
I mean, it's always nice to stay close, but wherever you're going to play, that's got to be your mindset. Like, that's the best place I need to be.
I think one thing that I've always kind of talked about with some athletes is sometimes it's a matter of, do you want to be known or do you want to go be known? And what I mean by that, you could stay home and everybody knows you. Doesn't mean you're going to get developed. Doesn't mean you're going to get somewhere. Or you go somewhere like, obviously you could take Hunter, goes to Gonzaga, gets barely any clout off of Gonzaga, barely even any love. Now at Wake Forest, exploded. The player came out because he got in the right situation. You're going to St. Louis. What was that decision? And did you take an official visit down there?
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
And what was that like?
Just a good vibe. The assistant coaches like me. I vibe with them good. And I met the head coach for the first time, and he's actually from Nebraska, so he knows stuff down here. And it was just we kind of had a good relationship right away. So I can only imagine it's going to get better and better as more time I spend with him.
Now, of course, we talked a lot about the AAU, but one thing that we really didn't talk about when we came to it is these circuits. What did the circuit mean to the high school athlete? Obviously, I noticed you guys got constant different shoes. You got different stuff you got to wear. How does this, because I tell anybody will go to Oregon if you got an offer. Why? You'll get a full duffel bag. I'll take all that green stuff, right? How did that change the AAU for you this past year, like with Next Pro and RL?
I think it's nice. You get clothes, shoes, backpacks, stuff like that you want to get, and just being an independent team. And I think like they got like different Twitter websites, and once you get posted on there, it's like a little more promotion. Oh, you're doing good on a circuit rather than just doing good for independent tournament or whatever like that. So yeah, it's just nice getting gear. More coaches, I think, go to like a circuit rather than just a random tournament. So a little more structure and more promotion, I think.
What was your favorite place to go play these past couple years?
Been a lot. Indiana was good. Where else I go? Colorado. There's been a couple places, yeah. Can't think off the top of my head right now.
When you think of what Omaha has done to the next pro league and put, obviously we had Omaha Elite, and of course I only say Omaha because you were a part of an Omaha team. How does that help you know that you were a part of the change to put this state, this city on the map? Because it wasn't just Omaha Elite that did good. So many teams did good.
Yeah, I'm just thankful I could help or promote Nebraska any way I can. And just to know that more stuff keeps coming down, like the 3SSB's been here for a couple years, so that's just getting more promotion to Nebraska, and knowing that I'm a part of that is a big deal.
You talked about social media, and Jeff, I haven't even asked you. I'll go to the parent side here in a moment. When did you get your social media? Of course, you've brought up that your brothers kind of ran a lot of it. And how were you kind of exposed to it to understand how to control it? Because social media could be the best of two worlds. It can be the worst of worst, or you can get all of the clout, like you've said. And how do you control that yourself?
It's my account.
Yeah, what did your family talk to you about social media? Because I could say for me personally, wrong, right, or indifferent, none of my kids had no Facebook or nothing until they graduated high school. Why? Because I had 3 females, and unfortunately, suicide is a high thing, and social media bullying is a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured if they didn't need it, let's keep rolling.
I think it's one of like the biggest ways to get your name out there, especially for Twitter. You see a lot of coaches on Twitter, so just posting the right things, like strictly sports. You don't need to be posting nothing about like girls, what you're doing next weekend, things like that. That can be for a different type of website, but just I'd say posting the right things and having good character online.
Do you remember your parents or any of your siblings talking to you about the social media to kind of give you an idea of what to do? Because of course, like, I mean, one thing could totally take everything away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My brothers, they say just don't post nothing dumb like I said, partying, cussing, things like that. Just keep it basketball and coaches, and, have good character, so carry yourself well.
Jeff, what all do you remember talking with your oldest two just about social media? And when do you think you kind of, because obviously I wish I would have for basketball, Twitter probably a little sooner with my son, but it just wasn't. It was like, man, is it really, is it one of those where you almost got to make sure they possibly have that in their future that they're looking for to do that? Or what did you feel coming up?
Well, it's part of those boxes.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that coaches are going to check. So always have those conversations, be mature about it, and however you're living, it's what you're doing. Like keep your personal. If you want people to look at you for being a basketball player, post basketball stuff, post things you're learning. So then people have always the intentions like he's in the gym, like he's working, and don't get on there and argue with people. I've never seen Taye get on there and argue with anybody. I've never seen Jeffrey get on there. My son get on there and argue with anybody. I think that's just huge because like showing that there's a level of maturity and shows that they're okay to have that social media. But some kids, you'll see them that they're athletes and they're going back and forth with people. And, as much as they're trying to prove a point to the one hater, that they have, right?
Yeah.
Just turn the coach off.
And so you don't even know it.
And you don't even know it.
They'll never reach out and tell you, hey, just to let you know,
you just blew it.
That post you did,
just blew it.
It's gone.
So I think it's just having the maturity, like I said, the boxes, and then having the people above you that are going to guide you, the guidance, to be able to pay attention to that. Because I can't think of any times I've had it, but I know I check my son's social media all the time. And if he's ever put anything up that I didn't like, he definitely would have you need to remove that immediately. And it's not negotiable. So just being mature and responsible, because if your goal is to go play at the next level, it's like as a person that loves you and then is going to guide you, like I want to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So for sure.
Yeah.
Senior year, did you leave Lincoln Southeast better than when you came to Lincoln Southeast? And if so, what way?
I'll say, yeah, my name got more clout at my school. Became a better basketball player each year. Got to state 2 times. We haven't been to state in 13 years since times that I've been there. I think I'm fourth or third in scoring now in Southeast history. Scored 1,000 points. We won hack. We haven't won hack in a while too, and we won the most games since I think a decade. So yeah, I think I left a good legacy there.
If I'm the coach there, what am I remembering you for?
It's being a great team player, getting my teammates involved, scoring the ball, and just winning games.
What I really liked about your game that I saw was the work without the ball. And I think it kind of gets undershadowed because you're constantly, from what I saw, analyzing what could be or what should be next, whether it is having to come back and pull it out. Where do those tendencies come from for you to be that all-around athlete instead of the one that I got to look for my bucket, I got to look for my points?
I think it's my high school coach. In high school, you kind of, if you're like a good player, you might get doubled. It might be tough to score some nights. Some nights you might have to work off ball. So he just kept telling me, like, I got to move it out the ball if I want to be a great player and get better. So he just kept beating into my head that I got to move it out without the ball, cut, set screens for my teammates, and get myself open.
If there was a sport that Taye could play that was not basketball, what sport would that be and what position and why?
Can you repeat that? It kind of cut out.
If there was a sport that you could play besides basketball, what would you play? What position and why?
I want to say football, but I ain't messing with getting tackled.
That's Jay Saunders' answer right there.
I'll probably say baseball. Baseball is cool.
Outfielder?
Somewhere in the outfield, get a run. Some days you might not get too much action, save some energy. You always get a hit and you get to run the bases. And it's always like the dugout's always like a little vibe. They can be making their own little mottos up and stuff. So I'll say baseball, kind of fun.
If there was one thing that you could tell the freshman Taye that he could have done differently in high school, what would that have been?
Probably say get like a routine that you follow, so you're organized and not just unorganized, waking up different times, working out some days, doing more one day than another day. I would say staying consistent, what you eat, conditioning, playing basketball, spending time with family, stuff like that. So just being consistent and having a routine that you follow.
Jeff, you've obviously known Taye for a while now. What would be one thing, if I'm a coach looking at Taye, or one thing about Taye that you would wish someone would know that you couldn't tell on the outside looking in?
I think what people sleep on about him the most is he can control the game and the floor. He gets his teammates to move. He's just a high competitor. And, just as a coach, he's just one of those players. There's not too many players that you really can't set a game. You can't really set a game plan for him, because one night I might be the facilitator, if that's what's necessary for me. Like, he doesn't try to cheat the game. He takes what the game gives him and he just makes it a little bit better. So it's really hard to game plan for somebody that has that skill set. And it's not a lot of guys who have that, but he's definitely one of those dudes.
Hearing that, Taye, what does that mean to you to hear from someone that obviously has only seen the games? He's never coached him, right?
Nope.
Never coached him. What does that mean to you to know that that's the vision that you put off and that's what's bringing your opportunities?
It means a lot, and it just gives me more confidence knowing that I'm a tough matchup for anyone trying to game plan against me, and knowing I got a lot of skill to play the game that the right way needs to be played, whether that's me scoring, like Jeff said, or passing the ball, facilitating, getting stops on defense, or getting my teammates involved.
You got one thing to tell the crowd down in St. Louis that you're about to go to. What are you bringing to their table that they might not have seen for a while?
Hard worker that likes to win and that knows how to win and that has won in the future. I mean, in the past, and that's looking forward to winning in the future.
Was there ever something that you missed these past 4 years that you would tell others don't miss out at school? Anything at school that you might have missed out on? I know we had one person one time that said that he missed a formal dance and he just wished he didn't because he chose something else.
For sure.
You might not.
I ain't go to prom. I ain't go to prom, but it might not hit till like a couple more years.
Yeah. Now what was the choice behind that? Just didn't want to spend the dough. Didn't want to. What was? Come on, man. We all know that you got the girls. Got to be. Come on, Taye. You asking me, right?
We had an AU tournament, and I wasn't like. I didn't really.
He said it right there. He said it right there. This was the decision.
I didn't really plan too much. Like, I was kind of just talking about it. My mom obviously wanted me to go, but like we didn't really look at suits, nothing like that. And
you don't have to tell me, man. I went out the day before and had to buy my son a jacket. You don't have to tell me that. But what you just said there is something that some people don't understand. When you're in for what you're in for, basketball, and that is your goal, you'll give up on memories that in the long run, hopefully won't ever haunt you in the future. Obviously, you could talk about it. You could say, wish I woulda. Yeah. Who knows if you would be where you are today with that decision when it's getting the opportunity at the next level. Well, I greatly appreciate your time. I appreciate your story and especially just what you brought to Lincoln. You brought the connection to Omaha. You really put Lincoln Southeast back on the map when it came to basketball, which is highly needed because I don't know about you. I'm tired of seeing Bellevue West and Millard North. We need some other teams out there. Please and thank you.
It's coming.
I hope so.
It's coming.
Nothing against them. I mean, I've had Bellevue West kids, but man, give us some
matchups.
Teams.
It's coming.
But once again, man, this was a great episode. I appreciate you. If you like this episode or any other, make sure to hit the subscribe down below, like, share, whatever you want to do. Follow. We appreciate you. Once again, Wired Access Podcast, DJ K-Dub, Jeff Koonsman, and of course, Taye Moore. We'll see you next time.